Hello, welcome back for, I believe we're on episode 48? Is that what I said? I've forgotten what episode we're on. Yes, 48 of Animus, Absentis, and we've got spooky ghosts that we're talking about and dealing with, and it's gonna be a time. Before we jump in, though, I'm gonna say a few words about our sponsors and let everybody introduce themselves, and then we'll get to it. So, first of all, sponsors. Let me throw that link into chat for everything. They are Fundamental RPG. It's a system that Animus runs on. The book looks like this. You can pick up your own copy on Amazon if you want the physical book, or if you want the PDF, you can grab that at coffee.com/raven, like it says at the bottom of the screen. And the PDF version on that site is currently 50% off, so you can pick that up for less than $10 right now until the end of the month. Also at coffee.com/raven is Intrepid gear, which is adventuring gear for real life. A bunch of really cool stuff with a tabletop theme to it, like mugs and shirts and jackets and all kinds of cool stuff like that. So go check that out as well. And then Die Hard Dice. They make really amazing polymer and metal sets of dice and dice accessories and dice adjacent stuff. Very, very cool. You can check that out at dieharddice.com. I highly recommend checking out the Fey Bloom set. There's a direct link to that in the chat as well, because that set looks really cool. It's one I'm looking at the most this month. And then if you use the code BLACKFEATHER, all one word, capital B, you can get 10% off your entire order. And then finally, if you want to catch up on this show or others that we have on the channel, you can do so at the Fantasy Network at watch.thefantasy.network. All that out of the way, we'll go to the top left with Jay. Tell us a little bit about Sparky and yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Jay, or Alien Jays. You can find me on Twitter and itch.io under that last name, and I'm a role player and a game dev. That's it. Tonight I'm playing Sparky, who is real fed up with all this shenanery about the invisible peoples and their ability to walk through doors, potentially, and is not sure where we're going to go from here, to be perfectly honest, much like I am. But they're very happy they have a new ship, and they're hoping that this whole thing isn't a ruse.
The ship was the real trap all along. No, it's not. V, tell us a little bit about Annie and yourself.
Hi, I'm Vanessa. I'm an artist. I work primarily in watercolor and pencil sketch, as well as some digital stuff. If you'd like to take a look at any of my work, you can certainly do so. I have an art Twitter, which is at PepperoDraws, and that's Peppero like the candy. And I play Annie, or Annalise, and she is currently the only member of the crew who has her memories back. So that's been really interesting. She pre-memory wipe, and I guess now that she kind of has her memories back, I always joke that she was kind of like a space Anonymous or a Robin Hood kind of character, where she would steal from the rich, and instead of giving to the poor, she would steal from the rich and sell to the less rich. So she would break into companies and steal sensitive information and data and things like that, and then sell them to, say, for example, competitors. And that's how she would make her money. And this all came from a need to kind of take a dig at the big bad guy, that is General Horrible Corporation. And that kind of falls a little bit into her family history. I'll leave it vague, but that's definitely where that comes from. And yeah, so she has her little brother with her on the ship now, which is fantastic. There is no safer place for him to be, despite all the absolutely batshit crazy shenanigans that we get into. I can tell you with certainty that it's far safer for him to be here with us doing that than anywhere else.
Is it though?
I think so. In Annie's opinion, yes. Because at least she has eyes on him. At least if they all go out with a bang this way, she knows how it happened, so it's their own fault, I guess. If she had sent him home, it would be a little bit of a different story. So, but yeah, that's Annie, and that's me.
Awesome. go check out at Canned Chaos Art on Twitter because they're super awesome. They couldn't make it tonight. They normally play Seattle, who's the engineer and ship dad of the ship, and also the real dad of Daisy, one of the NPCs. And then we'll hop over to Goody. Tell us a little bit about Captain and yourself.
Hi, I play Captain. Captain is a Black Ops murder android and also as it says, captain of the ship. Captain is trying her best to understand these humans. She doesn't have really much memory she doesn't have details of what she did before the memory wipe, but she knows what she was. So, I mean, she's under no delusion there. But yeah, she's trying to understand these dang humans and kind of be ship mom. And yeah, she is exploring her own, I wouldn't say emotions or feelings, but like just her own understanding of self. And it's a process, but it's a process that we're all here for. So yeah, should be fun.
Awesome. And then, yeah, I'm Raven. I'm the creative director for the Raven Evermore, which is my brand for all the various things that I do. Excuse me. And there is my link tree in chat. If you can't see chat, it's linktr.ee/the Raven, like it's spelled below my face. And then I play everybody else in this galaxy, including some NPCs that are on the ship, which are Liam, Seth, and Daisy, who are all in varying stages of teen to 20 in age. Some biologically related to members of the crew and others adopted. And yeah, so this is the Animus world, which is a post, not post-capitalism, I guess, but like super far into the future of capitalism being awful, and terraforming and taking over a decent chunk of the Milky Way galaxy. Currently, our crew is on, what planet were you on?
That planet from season 2, I thought.
Tops Prime.
Tops
Yeah.
Prime, yeah. We're just on the other part of it, like on another side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It weirdly does, the name weirdly does spell out the acronym of that one planet from season 2, but it's completely unrelated.
Total coincidence.
Yeah. Tops Prime, you are currently in a supposedly abandoned biomaterials research facility that Pillar and Quince were working on together. Quince pulled out of the arrangement, and now it's been left not exactly abandoned. It is well kept. There are guards there, but it's no longer really in active use. And through sneaking around last session on the inside, after posing as paranormal investigators to get inside, you did find something that seemed alarmingly ghost-like. They pulled up, after some chasing around, whatever this was pulled up a Word document on a computer, and you were able to communicate a bit. And once it found out that you were not with one of the big corporations, it asked for help. So I think that catches us up. What is your response to help me?
Who are you?
There is a pause before the keys start moving again, and the response is a name. It just says Samuel Anderson.
Can we... Are we still in contact with the ship?
Uh-huh.
And who's on the ship still?
Dad
Seattle...
and the kids, I think.
Yeah, basically. Seattle,
Can
Daisy,
we
Seth,
have-
and Liam.
One of them, like, see if that name pulls anything up?
Yeah. I will...
Like Daisy or
Roll.
something?
Yeah. Roll for Daisy. She is able to pull up a record of a Samuel Anderson that lives or lived on the planet. A factory worker that worked in this facility was presumed dead about a year ago, which is a little bit before the Quince and Pillar alliance sort of started to fall apart. It was declared a work accident, and the body was not recovered.
And does Daisy tell us this?
Yeah, this is what Daisy's telling you. There's a lot of other not important details, but basically it sounds like an average person that worked for the company and had a fairly boring life on the planet at this town.
I'm going to try to verify that this is them.
Okay. You can do a...
Like, just ask them, I guess. I don't know.
Like just
Oh,
asking them if the
ask-
details that you found match
Yeah,
up.
like, be like, hey, did you...
Oh,
is this you?
Gotcha. Yeah, do a speech check.
Okay.
I thought you were trying to ask, like, Daisy, like, is this really Daisy on the other end? I was confused
Oh,
for a
no,
moment.
no.
The whole ship's full of doppelgangers.
Speech. 33.
33?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of the details match up. Some of the questions you ask don't get answers, but most of the stuff that you ask, the answers are either exactly what's in the research Daisy was able to find or close enough.
Okay. Why are you not visible or detectable?
There's a pause and then a ... I don't know. Haven't been for about a year.
It says you died in a work accident.
There's,
Do you have any recollection of an accident?
There's another long pause and then a ... There was an explosion, but I was fine. But then no one could see me.
So he got Dr. Manhattan.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh,
I know what you
Watchmen.
mean. Yeah.
Yeah. We'd be happy to help you, but what is it you want us to do?
There's a pause and then more typing. And essentially, they explain that they don't know. They just know that nobody seems to be able to see them, and they have difficulty interacting with physical objects. And they basically are just unable to do really anything because they're either literally a ghost and don't know how to pass on, or they somehow can't interact with objects very well, and people can't see them.
What have you been eating for a year?
There's like a longer pause. But then they sort of explain they can still eat. Died and converted into a faulty hologram? Maybe. But no, they can still eat. They have difficulty interacting with physical objects, but they are able to take food and eat it. And with them being invisible, being able to go get food is not that hard.
So why are you still here? In this building?
Still trying to figure out what happened, why I am this way now.
Did they clean up after the explosion, or did they leave it as is?
There was a bunch of yellow tape. Bunch of people moving around with equipment. Eventually they scrubbed the area and left.
Why leave a building abandoned for a full year and not just sell it?
Probably because there's still something here they need. Or something they're covering up. Do you have any recollection of exactly what exploded or where?
They bring up a map of the building, and it's in one of the research labs, or not. It has the research lab, and then it shows like a warehouse adjacent to it.
Like one of the wings.
Yeah, and it does like a little mouse waving around in a circle over the warehouse. And then points at the lab, and Samuel manages to throw up some papers on the desk. Or actually, no, paper clips, because that's funnier.
Wait, when you say throw up, like
toss.
Okay. I was like, oh no.
Just looking at that place made me...
I have consisted on a diet of paper clips for the last 6 months.
And they always come out all linked together.
It's a magic trick.
It's like you've seen the cherry tied in a knot. Anyway.
Amateurs.
Not very filling, but it's high in minerals.
Oh my god. Keeps
I guess
things together really
he's
well.
Far up the nutritional chain.
Oh, here we go. So where is the warehouse from here?
It is down a floor and towards the back of the building from where you came in. On the one that he's pointing to is on the left-hand side of the building.
Okay.
Well, if anything, we should probably help this person.
Mm-hmm.
And they might have good technological answers for us. And it seems a touch cruel to just leave them.
It does, but I think I have an idea.
What do you mean?
This place has been running for a year, right?
Sounds like that.
So to clarify as well, he was pronounced dead a year ago. It's not been abandoned for a year.
Still, it's been a year since that. So,
okay.
How much do you want to bet that their cameras are still running?
It's very likely. Should we see if Daisy can hack them?
Or since we're paranormal investigators...
Oh, that is true.
Annie just starts laughing.
Sparky looks mock offended, like, listen, I didn't go for 3 years to poltergeist school. And they can't keep it together. Like they lose it at that.
Annie says, well, Sammy, if we're gonna give you a hand, then I think it's only fair that you help us keep our cover while we do it.
There is a slight pause, a couple of sound of footsteps, and then on one of the walls of this office building there's a bookshelf with a bunch of like fancy looking books. One of them comes off the shelf and flies at Sparky.
Would
Annie
you like
lets
me
out
to
like
roll
a
anything about that, or is it just a warning shot?
You can choose to let it hit you or not. You don't
I
have
would love
roll.
to not.
Okay, yeah, you're able to dodge out of the way.
Okay.
Annie just like lets out a little snort noise, and she's like, "Well, you've certainly got the spirit." And then she
So
pauses
comes
for a
off
The
minute.
spirit? You've got the
Book
spirit?
comes off the
Yeah.
shelf and
Yeah.
flies towards you, Annie.
Yeah, she'd like to dodge out of that one.
Okay.
Sparky is glaring at the bookshelf because it's where they assume this person is. But they don't say anything. Yeah.
Captain's just going to give a vague 2 thumbs up in that direction.
You get a weird sense that someone is giving you 2 thumbs up back, but you can't see anything.
Great.
Something about the way the air moves.
Yeah.
It's from one cryptid to another. We just understand each other, okay?
Yep.
Should we go to the warehouse first or get the tapes first?
I think maybe get the tapes first, so maybe we have a better idea of what we might possibly be encountering.
Okay. I am into that.
All right. Wow, my brain just went like, hey, do you remember that thought that you had? It's gone. Words. Annie, are you asking Daisy to hack into the video cameras? On
Sure.
the ship? Okay. If so, she does let you know that it's a closed system, so she needs someone to go to the server room for the cameras and physically plug something in so that she can get access to it. That one is on the 3rd floor on the right-hand side of the building.
Do we have access to that area at this time? Or do we need to go request it?
Presumably, you can get over to that side. Whether or not the room itself is restricted or not, you're not sure.
Okay.
You could ask for an escort or for access or something like that if you would like.
Annie proposes that their newfound friend Sammy here walk ahead of the group and like open random things or like doors that are unlocked or bang on things if possible so that it looks like they're following things. So, it might make the access to the room a little bit easier if, good old Sam here started like banging on that door and making it seem like there was something in there that they wanted to check out.
Right.
Rather than just going to security or whoever and be like, yeah, we want to look in that room.
Specifically this warehouse?
Yeah. Yeah. Or where the systems are or something.
Okay. There's no like audible answer from Sam, but there is like you can't hear him speak, but he does bang on the door a couple times.
I was gonna say 1 slap for yes, 2 slaps for no.
Nobody brought a Ouija board, did they?
Should have just brought a chalkboard. It would have done better. Yeah, I'm good for that.
Same.
Okay. So are you then heading to the third floor?
Yes.
Server room
Yeah.
or warehouse first was the question.
Okay, I was like, what was on the third floor?
All right.
Server room, yeah.
You guys wanted to go servers first, right?
All right.
Because worst case, we can always sneak into the warehouse later on if we need to, but the server room's dodgy, so.
Yeah.
Do you take the stairs or the elevator?
Stairs.
Stairs. I'm gonna say stairs.
Okay. As you start
Sure,
to head
why not?
towards, as you start to head towards the stairs, there is a loud bang as presumably Samuel goes through the door into the stairwell. The lights come on. You're able to follow up, no problem. You get to the third floor, and this one has basically on the outside edges of the building are offices, and then on the inside areas, so basically areas that wouldn't have a window, are utility stuff like server rooms, filing closets, equipment storage, things like of that nature.
I would just like to add for flavor. You know, in like ghost hunting shows where they hear noises, and everybody like hunches over and like, tries to follow it. And, you know, that kind of vibe. That's what Annie's doing. She's like getting really into character.
Oh my god.
I would say Sparky is less so. I think they're probably just following Annie with like the PDA, trying to like see what Annie can see.
Oh goodness.
Captain did some research and is like holding her hands out like a medium does.
Also, quick aside, the lights came on when Samuel went in the stairwell, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
How is the motion sensor picking up if nobody can visually see?
That's a good
Yeah,
question.
especially
Question.
if even like Captain can't see him.
Does Captain, I don't remember if we did this last session, but does Captain have thermal vision?
We did try it.
Okay, we did.
Yeah.
I saw like something, but not
I
much.
will have to ask these guards if the lights are motion sensing
Yeah.
or if it's something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you
Go
imagine
on.
putting the lights on a timer? Somebody's going up the
Yeah.
stairs and the lights just turn off.
That would be amazing.
That would be.
Like, who designed this? This is horrible.
We just weirdly know that at 12:02 every day somebody's going to go into the stairwell. Like clockwork.
That's how it works. We hire a lot of 70-year-olds. Pretty routine.
We actually have an algorithm that studied the movements of all the employees for 6 months and then
Oh, that's too real. Oh, it's too
Sorry.
real.
I would be genuinely upset.
I would
Right.
change my rhythm up every single day just to create an anomaly.
Right?
Fuck that.
Same. I would be like, no, I'm not part of your system.
Man.
um,
Anyway, sorry.
you're good.
Surprise, outlier, bitch.
Various doors, shake. There's loud banging noises, footsteps. One of the closet doors is open, and just a storm of paper clips and post-it notes and things like that just come pouring out of the closet as you move ahead.
Samuel, don't throw
need-
your food around.
In character, Annie's just like, what? Freaking out.
One of two options. You can do blend in to not be seen by the cameras at all, or you can do art to act scared.
Oh.
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 Okay, here. Can we try to blend in? And if that fails, then roll for art?
Sure.
Be stealthy first, and then if all else fails, act like you did it on purpose.
Question, Raven.
It'll be harder to succeed at the art roll if you do it second than if you do it first. But yes.
Question: could I stretch credulity and apply assassin training to pretending like I'm doing what I'm doing?
Absolutely.
Okay. Then in that case, I'll use art.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I don't have a +7 to art.
Normally, so do I.
Do I have a plus? Oh, I do. Okay.
All right, what are we
Um,
doing?
I guess.
I guess we should all like play the same.
Half of us
how
try to
are we
blend,
gonna-
half of us act scared.
How are we gonna like? That's gonna look so weird to anyone watching the cameras, though.
What?
Us like trying not to be in camera, or all like only some of us pretending to follow a ghost, and the rest of us being like,
But that's the joke.
the joke
We'll just
might
say
get
we
us
were
killed.
possessed.
That's
Would that then be
serious.
Would that then be the killing joke?
Stop that. All right, are we all going for art then?
Sure.
Okay.
Do it. Oh my god, would you stop revving? I'm sorry that you're. I'm not gonna say that on stream.
Oh boy, we are
Really?
just.
Oh, sorry, that's with a
not great.
+7. That should be 16.
24.
Okay.
I think Annie's overdoing it a little bit.
What was that noise?
Annie
Yeah.
is just full on Zach Bagans over here. Just like. Bro! Bro,
On
it's
this-
a demon, bro.
On this episode of Ghost Adventures, like.
Yeah.
To quote a fairly popular paranormal show, our paranormal investigators tried to act scared, and it did not go well. Yeah, Annie is hamming it up. Like, oh no, there's post-it notes.
Sparky is not far behind.
Bro, Raggy.
little more convincing. And then Captain is actually doing a pretty good job, like looking very defensive and ready to, to do the fight part of the fight or flight response. Very convincing, like, yeah, this is absolutely how an android would react to something like this.
I mean,
So
Sammy's in for a nasty surprise if he gets too close.
So yeah, Annie first, and then Sparky. A full book of post-it notes gets thrown directly at the two of you.
Annie's like trying not to laugh because she knows how much she fucked it up.
Yeah, you can feel the disappointment coming from this empty space down the hallway.
The only convincing person is the one that can't be seen on camera. Sparky's definitely hiding their laughter behind the PDA.
Okay, but what if the cameras did pick Sam up? Like clearly the lights do. What if
I just see this guy slowly walking down the hall like, oh, oh. Just totally
all of this
doesn't
stuff
get it.
spills over the floor and we're all acting surprised, or our version of surprised? The camera's clearly picking up a guy doing it.
And he's just standing there like,
Pretty much. I mean, they might.
They might.
Cameras pick up ghosts all the time.
yeah, I kind of feel like if they were though, this is the longest running like practical joke on this poor sod.
Yeah.
Like, let's just pretend he's invisible.
Oh my god.
That is some like world-class hazing. Like
We're gonna
good
close the whole
gravy.
facility down.
It's
Yeah,
kept
right.
him here this long, so clearly he hasn't left.
Okay.
God.
All right. Do you continue down the hallway?
Hmm?
Same things happen. Do you try to keep up this charade?
But of course, one's an actor, always an actor.
I need more rolls then.
Okay.
More art.
So that will be a 44 total. 'cause it's
Oh,
plus
honey.
7. Oh!
I knew that was
Goodness.
coming. I felt it in my bones. I knew it was coming. Oh, Jesus.
Captain,
Can I? Good.
you're looking a little less convincing, but still good enough.
I'm gonna suggest something.
Sure, go for it. You can look however you want.
Sparky is doing like they're doing their absolute best. They're like using the PDA, taking out another device to make it look like they're scanning for it, and in the midst of it, completely trip over Annie. Because like maybe Annie's fallen over or is like convulsing or I don't know, whatever Vanessa's thinking. Yeah, you're like, oh my god, I've been possessed.
I think Annie's probably smart enough not to go that far.
You say that. Yeah, that's totally fine. You can trip over Annie, fall to the ground. Samuel grabs like the collar of your shirt and starts pulling you down the hallway a little bit. And whether or not it's genuine fear or not, you convey absolute, utter terror.
It's a healthy mix of both.
So perhaps on that nat one, then Annie momentarily forgets that this is all a clever ruse and is genuinely like, what the fuck?
Oh no. So you know how I roll a d20 to see how bad the nat 1 is?
Oh no.
Yeah, it's bad.
No.
I know.
I
how
rolled
bad
a
is it?
1.
Yeah.
All right.
Oof,
So
it's
you're
oof.
trying to act, scared and whatnot. Yeah, Sparky trips over you, and you try to act scared, and in trying to like run away, you trip over your own feet and just go face first right into one of the doors.
Oh,
You know what? I was expecting a lot worse than that. So I'll take
Don't-
it.
Don't I don't know if she's done yet.
No, I'm not done yet. You take 1 damage because I rolled as low as possible on that die. And
You smack your nose off a closed door.
Yeah, like it smarts and is probably gonna hurt for a while.
That's okay.
And it's really embarrassing.
That's all right.
your ego takes 2 damage.
Yeah, your ego takes 10 damage. You take 1 damage.
I would just like to point out that the 3 of us here, are the least likely to bring this up in casual conversation, because Captain doesn't do that, and Sparky's still in the shit house right now. So
He's not
I'm
the
just-
only one.
I'm just very, very glad that like Seth and Liam weren't here. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but
Not
you
to
forget,
mention Daisy.
if Daisy's
Oh, yeah.
hacking into the cameras,
Yeah, but we haven't opened up the cameras yet.
just saying.
That's
Like-
true.
I feel like
But
she might
if
notice
we're-
that.
What if we're being watched by this is some weird elaborate setup of some kind,
Mhm.
and these guards are just watching us like what?
Like
Well, you see-
vaudeville.
You don't
Piano
have to be
music playing
embarrassed
over
if
it,
you're
you
never
know?
gonna see these people again.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about Daisy gifting it and pacing it up around the ship.
Oh, it's gonna be all over the trash pandas. She is going to send it to the trash pandas, and it's going to be everywhere. And then
And
the
if she
trash
does
panda-
that, she's going swiftly out the airlock.
well, what I was gonna say is then the trash pandas are gonna use it against the GPF and be like, "Look at the GPF can't even keep under their freaking thumb." These idiots.
Oh my god.
No, Daisy wouldn't send it to the trash pandas and everybody else. She would just add the cartoon whistle effect. to it.
Needed
You
to
know,
put Benny Hill on it.
We talk a lot about like venting people. I feel like this one might actually go through.
Well, we don't know. We don't know who's actually going to end up seeing this or not. So
It's true. It's
we'll
true.
we'll cross that nebula when we come to it. After all of this, you eventually make your way down to where this camera server room is. And yes, it does have a access restricted sign on it. There is a loud bang as presumably Samuel goes into the room, and then he starts shaking the door quite a bit. And the light outside the door flickers. You don't have to roll again to act, but
I really hope someone's in there. I think Sparky will just say some BS about like, oh my god, the readings are off the charts in that room. Like,
it's very
as
convincing.
loud, kind of as loud as possible, just in case there's guards around.
Okay. Oh no, the EMF readings.
Oh, emotion,
Ghost words.
mother.
Did you bring
Got a
the
special
spirit
device for
box?
it and everything.
Okay. So you ham it up outside the door
Mhm.
for a little bit. Then what?
Mhm.
And it's locked.
It is locked. Yes.
Is it locked for an android though?
Not sure if Captain understands how locks work, but yes.
Hey,
Well, I
Can an
mean-
android circumvent the lock? Quite possibly, but it is
Yeah,
still
I mean, like,
locked.
is it like,
is it like an elevator door, or is it?
yeah, like, is this a bunker door that is not going to let me in, or is this a I can force this open type thing?
You could probably force it open. Yes, I see where you're going with this now.
Let's what do we think? Should we force the door open or should we ask for permission?
Should we check for cameras before we do that? Maybe.
Okay.
You don't even have to roll. There are 3 cameras that cross over this doorway.
We should probably ask for permission. Is kind of what I'm thinking. If we wanted to keep the ruse up.
Okay.
Listen, well, more than anyone, I am excited to see you shit kick this door. But
Same.
yeah, I think Sparky will start yelling. You know, guards, security.
Excuse me.
Don't tell me they're not on their rounds on this floor. Like,
They're not really patrolling inside the building, so it does take a few minutes. But eventually, somebody does come up the stairs.
open up
actually,
a window.
Actually, no, they probably just come up the elevator. Actually, and there's a little ding as the doors open, and the security guard comes walking over. It's the same guy from the gate. He's got a little mustard, like, on the side of his mouth.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say on his uniform. I'm like, that's unprofessional. Wear a napkin.
No, it's like just, maybe some crumbs on the uniform as well, but
Okay.
clearly he's just eating.
Yeah.
And
Oh, thank goodness you're here. There's something in that room.
he just looks you all like dead blank expression. Is like, look, are you all actual paranormal investigators? Or are you just filming some sort of movie and you needed a empty office building to film it in? Because I was watching on the cameras and that was the weirdest scared expressions I've ever seen.
Is Samuel still putting on the show?
Yeah. He's like,
So
I don't
is
know.
he not hearing?
Oh, he is. He's just like, I don't know how you're shaking the door and flickering the lights or whatever, but is that really a ghost, or are you just trying to make a movie?
We have no filming equipment.
He points to Sparky's tablet.
This thing doesn't take videos.
All right, I need a.
What do you think this is, the
charm.
future? Yeah,
I
I
need
a
a
charm.
charm if you want to try to be charming and convincing, or speech if you want to try to be like, see, it doesn't take video, you know.
I'll do charm. I'll do
try to
that. That
logic
seems
your
like
way
more, yeah.
Okay. Well done. Because you got a nat 20 earlier, you're just able to keep that going.
Okay,
And
cool.
your charm roll just amplifies that. And now Sparky's anxiety becomes this security guard's shared anxiety.
My superpower. Share the load.
He changes his tune pretty quick. And is a lot more cautious. It is like, oh, okay, you just... Wow, you are really uncoordinated, aren't you? I'm so sorry. He says it to Annie. Then he goes back to the door and uses his key card to unlock it and then quickly steps back out of the way.
Sparky's got their PDA up trying to, take a picture of the ghost.
Alright.
It takes picture, not video.
Yeah, not video, obviously. We could do it like a stop motion film. We'll be here all day.
Yeah. I mean, most
like,
ghost films look like they were filmed on a potato anyway. So
That's
like,
very true. That's very true. Also,
You're
what
just
is a
like,
video
yeah.
but many photos, one after the other?
fair. I feel like Sparky's like, yeah, I couldn't afford the Quince brand. I got the Apple instead. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the door opens and everything stops. Inside is it looks like your like security monitor station. There's tons of little monitors with all the different cameras and a bunch of computer equipment in it, and it's essentially like a big closet. What do you all do? He's still standing behind you watching everything.
I think, like, peering in to see all these monitors, Sparky would look back at him like, how are you watching the cameras if they're all in here?
I can tap into the monitor feed from anywhere on the premises. We don't just have one set of monitors to look at the cameras.
That makes sense.
So we need to plug something in, right?
Hmm.
Yes, you will need to plug in essentially a Wi-Fi router kind of a deal.
Right.
Do we have this Wi-Fi router thing?
I'm gonna say that's something that Annie probably would commonly have on hand. Yeah,
How big is it?
like a thumb drive.
Okay.
And he's just got like an antenna stuffed in her back pocket.
It's
And
really small.
I got this.
Okay, what if somehow Annie surreptitiously got the USB into Captain's hand, who could then like just kind of place her hand on the server area like she's trying to feel for the ghost and she's actually plugging it in? Or Annie could try to
I
do
was
that?
gonna say, and while they're doing that, Sparky is distracting the guard and maybe getting Samuel to ham it up a little more.
You can certainly try. Sparky, we'll start with you. How would you like to convince Samuel to ham it up without being like, hey, ghost, can you ham it up?
It's gonna be one of those, like, mentioning a specific thing, like saying that the ghost was doing certain things on the way here, but saying it loud enough and with a certain inflection to indicate that they want that to happen again, almost.
All right.
Like they're almost like hoping for that.
speech roll to convey that accurately.
Okay.
Without tipping off our guard.
23.
Yeah, you do a pretty good job of that. What do you want Samuel to do?
I would like Samuel to fuck with the lights, both inside and out.
All right.
And is there anything else in this room? Like, is there a chair or like anything loose that isn't the monitors?
Yes, there's stuff on the desk. There's a chair, some random wires, and yeah, he starts flickering the light switch up and down.
Not quite what I meant, but okay.
That's how he was flickering the lights before. It's like connected to the just outside the door light as well.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that, and then throwing stuff around on the table and moving the chair around.
Okay. Yeah, he starts doing all of that.
So Sparky's seeing that after saying, like, it's been doing all of these things like it's doing right now. Don't go in there. We're trained professionals. We can deal with this. And Sparky will look at Captain and Annie like, you know what to do.
All right. Because you are
Captain,
successful
like-
with that. Yeah.
I was gonna say, can Captain like shoot a quick message to Annie of like, plug in the Wi-Fi now?
Yeah.
Like,
Rapidly tap it out on the thumbs.
yeah, like something like that. Because I'm sure.
Yeah. You've got the implanted comms, so you could do that. Because Sparky is doing a good job, and Samuel, of distracting the guard. Whoever wants to try to plug it in can roll blend in with advantage.
Do you want to do it, Annie? Since you
yeah, I'll give
already
it a try.
have the equipment.
Yeah, may as well. With advantage, River?
Mm-hmm.
There
That's
you
a
go.
good
25.
thing. Sparky saved your bacon. You are able to get that plugged in and like in a spot where it's not easily seen. Which means Annie can try to hack into it.
You mean Daisy?
Or yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. So it's a 39 plus 9. So that's a 48. Yeah. She's downloading all of the camera logs and message you and asks how far back you want to go.
2 years.
Yeah, like, get the whole thing.
Annie swiftly sends a message saying that she doesn't need to collect anything from when they entered the building.
You get back
No
a
reason.
message that's like, okay, sure, no problem, frog emoji.
That's just gonna tip her off to get everything
Uh-huh.
from when we entered.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, Annie's gonna send a message to be like, if you value our friendship, please do me this favor.
Do me this kindness.
Yeah. Like, we just reconciled. I gave you the damn bead pin for your hair. Like, treat me nice this one time.
Yeah, you get back like a no problem, and then back on the ship, you know, Daisy's at a computer with like Seth and Liam on either side because they want to know what's going on. They're all looking at each other like, oh yeah, we're definitely gonna have to look.
Didn't say they couldn't look, just said don't download it.
They can look, just don't download it.
You can rest assured that Daisy will not download it.
Oh, great, because if
Daisy-
it's one of
I
the
like
boys,
that,
I will
yeah.
not hesitate to literally kick their asses. I've got no qualms with that.
I love the difference in punishment. Like, if you do it, I'm gonna vent you into space, and if you do it, I'm just gonna roundhouse kick you. Like,
Yeah. Definite double standard here. I
mhm,
agree.
mhm.
Well, I can't attest to Seth because, Seth just kind of melts into the background a little bit. But Annie spent all this time trying to make sure that Liam didn't die, so I feel like
What a betrayal. It's
Threatening to-
almost like what brothers do.
Mhm.
What'd you say?
I said, what a betrayal. It's almost like what brothers do. Siblings.
Anyways. The security guard's like, okay, I'm gonna let you three, continue your investigation, but I do need to relock this room. So if you're done in here, I'll lock that up, and then I can go back to my post.
Do I get the feeling that he's bought it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Like, it probably still has like a
Yeah, of
air
course,
of,
yeah.
of skepticism to him, but like, he's definitely not unconvinced enough
Okay.
to make a fuss of it.
Okay.
We
so-
feel that the spirit has moved on from this area. So yes, that would be fine.
All right. Yeah, he's like, oh, okay.
And Sparky
I'm
will be
not
like,
really quite-
I think I'm picking them up down the hall.
And the security guard sort of has this like, I'm not sure if everything you're saying's true, but something's going on here, so I'm just gonna let you do your thing, and I don't want to be
You know
here
more
anymore.
than I do, but I don't trust that you know more than I do.
Yeah.
Good.
He locks the door back up and leaves, essentially.
Jokes on him, this thing totally takes video.
So-
Did Annie unplug the Wi-Fi really quickly as well? So that, like, we didn't leave it behind?
I assumed you would be leaving it in there so that they can finish downloading it, because it's going to take a little
As I
bit.
say, yeah.
Oh, okay.
For 2 years of footage, I feel like that needs a bit.
Especially when it's
Well,
going wirelessly into
I was
orbit.
gonna say into orbit.
I hope they don't go poking around and looking too close at things.
Me
then.
too. I
And
mean,
he
we'll
hit it
probably at some
pretty
point.
well.
Oh, okay.
This is gonna be like 6 months down the line when somebody else buys the place. What's on this USB drive?
Wasn't this supposed to be a secured closed system? Why is there a Wi-Fi?
Was somebody
access?
watching porn on the security cameras again?
Yeah, it was the ghost hunters.
Yep.
You let ghost hunters in? Yeah,
It's that meme image. The what?
exactly.
All right, so
So while that's going on, warehouse.
yeah.
We should probably get that guard to unlock the warehouse for us.
The warehouse is, I will go tell you, the warehouse will be unlocked.
Okay.
The bio lab next to it might not be, but the
That's
warehouse will
fine. That's fine. We can pull a daisy and hoop through the vents.
be.
Shouldn't we wait to find out what
I mean, probably.
we're
but
encountering?
where's the fun in that? Don't listen to me. I have zero concern for our safety tonight. Don't listen to me.
All right.
So do we pull off the charade for long enough until they know what we're looking at? How do we run it?
You can't really watch it from there without looking suspicious. You could have your crack team of paranormal junior investigators check it from the ship.
Well, I
Sounds-
mean, do we pretend long enough that the people on the ship figure it out? Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Yeah, I would say let our junior paranormal interns investigate the footage.
What I mean is, are Annie, Captain, and Sparky putting on the charade of looking for a ghost and following it around the building until we have that info? What are we doing? That's what I'm curious about. And this is to Vanessa as well. Yeah.
I
That's
don't
what I-
mind us walking around the building and just kind of shitting around for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Daisy, you doing okay?
Yeah.
Too busy laughing, pours a drink over the console. The brand new ship!
So, Daisy's able to download all of the information just fine. The discipline rolls was to see if Seth, Liam, and or Daisy go investigate the footage.
Fuck's sake.
You
Liam
motherfuckers.
absolutely pulls it up. But it wasn't Daisy.
Little bitch is going in the fucking vacuum of space. I don't care.
I didn't realize you wanted to kill your brother so bad. Wow.
He had a long life. He outlived his usefulness. Going out the airlock.
You've had a good run, kid.
Yeah.
Get in the airlock.
Listen, I did you a solid. I saved your life. It was up to you what to do with it afterwards, and you chose wrong. So, distinctly his fault.
I can see that Sparky has definitely got like plot armor because Sparky's definitely done worse.
Yeah. I'm just glad it wasn't Daisy that made that roll.
I mean, to my understanding, isn't a typical sibling relationship like you would give them a kidney, but if they looked at you the wrong way, you might break all of their limbs.
I mean, depending on the siblings, mine's purely the latter, so...
Yeah, I mean, at one point in my relationship with my brother, when we were younger, it's like he was allowed to be as mean as he wanted to me. If anyone else was mean to me, though, that person was willingly offering themselves as a blood sacrifice.
Right.
Yeah.
The only person allowed to be mean to me, apparently, is my brother.
Which makes total sense. Total logic there.
Yeah.
All right. So, you're pretending to look around the building more, like slowly making your way towards the warehouse, I'm assuming. They're able to get the footage just fine and pull up the information from the accident. And it's basically some sort of weird machine that's been set up in the bio-research lab. There's like two big cylinders with different liquid, and there's electricity going back and forth between the two. And a bunch of people on lab coats, and then they start to look really concerned, and the electric charge gets bigger and bigger, and they start running out of the room through one door, and the janitor, who turns out to be Samuel Anderson, walks in through another door just in time for the thing to explode. And it just sort of moves out like a wave, these liquids, and as soon as it passes over poor Samuel, he just sort of disappears. The cameras go staticky, and then there's not any more footage for a couple of days, and then the next time there is footage, the room's been somewhat cleaned up of liquid and whatnot, and there's a lot of people in biohazard suits that are inspecting things.
Is this that one episode of Stranger Things? I feel
I don't know. I've not actually seen
Right.
that show.
pretty good. You should watch it.
It's fun.
Cool. So that gets relayed to you.
Is there
they're-
anyone? Is there anyone that comes in like a bigwig at some point, like after the cleanup's done?
A few weeks later, yeah, there are people in like business suits that come in, and they seem very animatedly angry about the situation.
Okay.
There's no real audio to the feed. Who's asking about it and talking to Daisy on the line, by the way?
I guess I would be.
Okay, then Captain, Daisy sounds a little bit annoyed, and you hear Seth and Liam, for lack of a better word, giggling in the background.
Is there something amusing happening at this time? We just witnessed a janitor meet a potentially violent fate.
Yeah, you can tell, like, Daisy's turning in her seat and, like, not particularly. I told you not to download that. And then she comes back online and is like, the boys downloaded something they were told not to.
Is it going to affect the brand new ship?
The ship, not so much. The atmosphere on the ship, possibly.
Did you download the thing that Annie said don't download?
Liam did it.
The speed and precision with which she tossed him under that fully moving bus
Yes.
is just a chef kiss.
She wasn't gonna say anything, but she was asked directly, and so she's like, "Nope, you're under the bus. Sorry, kid."
You know, is Annalise able to hear this conversation at this point?
I will leave that up to V. Are you on this group call, or are you just letting Captain handle it?
Did Captain specifically open up like a private comm between you and the ship, or is it just like on the comms that they have for each other? Like, I guess it depends. Because if it's just like an open call, then yeah, she would probably hear it, right? Or get the
Probably.
message. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, she would probably
You know
receive
what?
that same message.
Let's go with that. It'll be funnier. So yes, Annie hears it.
Homegirl immediately looks like a storm cloud ready to rain lightning. She's in public though. They're on cameras. So it's that very distinct mom look of, if we weren't in somebody's company right now, I'd kick your ass. But we're going to have to wait until we're in the privacy of our own home. But then you're going to fucking get it.
This when we get home.
Yeah, pretty much.
In the background on the line, you also hear Daisy going, "No, I will not tell you how to add a laugh track to that. Delete it."
Oh dear.
Oh my god. Oh, I just had the stupidest idea of them putting it in VR.
Oh my god. They make a
you for that.
Phasmophobia
Yeah.
game based on us.
Oh goodness.
Just put
Oh, some kids are going to
learning-
have some broken limbs, I think.
machine learning thing, so it just like recreates it from every angle, so the full 3D, you can watch it from
Yeah.
any angle.
It's like a crime scene investigation, but the only crime is a brother about to die by the hand of his sister.
Why are you guys doing this to me? Just move on.
All right.
Because it's funnier when it's not us.
I mean, that's fair. I think it is because Annie's like the one that's always like very, with it and graceful and, smooth, and then just the bonk.
Listen, it's a law of the universe.
Yeah.
Even the best people will eat shit sometimes.
Anyways.
In terms of Annie, I think I would like to be graceful 99% of the time and have an occasional slip than
That's
to be
fair.
these shit-eating little gremlins on the ship who are ungraceful 99% of the time, and then occasionally they have a good thing. So, you know what? We're just gonna take it with dignity. They still might lose a finger or two, but we'll get there when we get there.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't know Zoom had added it, but I guess there's a new feature that you can actually taste the salt from other people. So it's incredible.
Listen.
Is that the sound
Salt?
of you not giving a fuck? Is that what that is?
Yes, my garden of freshly grown fucks is empty, unfortunately.
Where that saw blade on the unit next door was ominously present in that timing.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Oh yeah, V was like, listen, and you were like, yes, and then there was like, like, oh jeez.
Oh, that's perfect.
Oh, when
Anyways.
life gives you that good background track, it's great.
At any rate, you have some information. You can also, oh, I forgot to mention, there's also a giant hole that's blown in the wall between the warehouse and the bio research lab, and the door that the janitor was coming from is from the warehouse side.
Okay.
In the footage, is that wall ever repaired?
Yeah, if you fast forward, you can see that it is eventually repaired. But it looks like they did a pretty crappy job of repairing it.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, if it was just a quick, sloppy, dirty.
Yeah, like you can very clearly see where it's been, where the new wall is, and that it's not as high a quality as the original wall.
Mm. Well, what can we glean from this? I mean, we saw him get mostly obliterated by this. Do we have any information downloaded as to what they were mixing?
Not on the footage, but you might be able to find that in the lab itself.
Can we go to the lab?
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought the lab was locked.
It potentially is, but you can go to like the door to it. You can go to the warehouse, and the wall's not that sturdy. I'm just saying.
Ooh.
Or you could have your friend open the door for you.
Are there any cameras in here anymore? Like, do they work anymore?
In the warehouse?
Yeah.
Daisy does still have access to the camera feeds.
Yeah, can like
Uh.
Daisy give us a hiccup or something?
Yeah, let's take a
Just
look.
does a camera loop, cuts out later on, like, when the hell did that hole get there?
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yep, she's able to do the classic heist, recording a significant portion of time and then looping it flawlessly.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
Daisy's
no.
like, oh yeah, that's easy now that I've got access. And there's more giggling. It's like, if some children would behave.
In that case, can Captain kick the wall down?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a might roll. $30. Yeah, you do a pretty good job of demolishing a good chunk of this wall. Is there any particular way that you would like to do that?
Stone Cold, just like standard Taekwondo kick.
Nice. Yeah, you kick it just right, and it like rips at the seam of where the new wall was, and just half of it falls down into the bio lab. There's some dust that takes a little bit to clear, and I think that's a good spot to take a break. So we'll come back in 15 minutes with hopefully everyone's, including those watching, are hydrated. You got snacks and stretch your legs, and then we'll find out what's in this lab and what happens from there. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. There we go. Now I'm back. So yeah, the captain has kicked down the wall, and yeah, the bio lab looks, aside from a lot of broken drywall everywhere, a lot like what it did on the video before the explosion. So like all the equipment's been replaced. All of that stuff is where it's supposed to be, essentially, and it looks like you would expect. So what specifically do you do or look for here?
That's a really good question. You said there were like 2 vats that broke, and that was what caused the accident? Is that right? Are those still here?
There are new ones here, though they are empty of any liquid. And yeah, it looked like there was an electric current going between them, and then it overcharged somehow and then exploded.
Would Captain be able to, like, have any knowledge of some type of chemical that would react this way?
You could try
Or
rolling
is this,
investigation.
like, top secret? Okay, we'll try.
It's probably not well-known information, so it's a long shot, but you never know. No, you're not sure what would cause that when combined with electric current and being like separate from one another and everything.
Okay.
Could I potentially as well?
Of course.
Perfect. Oh, there's the
Yes,
button.
they're trying to make a new Mountain Dew flavor. Yes.
I was trying to think of something about like electric blue or something. I'm like, I think that's actually a flavor.
Annie has done a lot of information stealing in her life. Could I also roll for education?
You absolutely can.
Well, like, what did Mrs. Johnson say in 7th grade science?
No, none of you have any clue as to what this might be.
Wait. Could I add my information broker to it, though? Because this would be information that she would have specifically stolen.
You
if she had heard of it.
But it will not make it a success.
Oh. Well, it would have been a 34, so I guess a 34, if we need to go forward, we're aiming for higher than that.
I suspect it's one of those, like, either it's a crit or you need like a plus 20 or something.
True.
Kind of, yeah. So just like know it off the top of your head. Yeah, it's like a 50 plus DC.
Okay.
Can we look around?
Let's do some investigating.
Absolutely. You can roll sight to get more specifics about your surroundings. There are computer consoles here that you could try digging into.
Just call us paper normal investigators.
Paper normal investigators.
I am so sorry. My brain is just melting.
It's funny. I not that you're
Are there
melting, but what you said.
I mean, that's funny too. Are there like papers lying around, file cabinets, anything like that too?
Doesn't seem to be any paper stuff lying around, but there is.
That's good. Eco-friendly.
Yeah, yeah. But there are the computers. So Annie, are you trying to sort of hack into the computers?
Computers, yes, please.
Yeah. It takes you a little bit, but you're able to sort of brute force entry into the computer system and start poking around in some files. As you're doing so, there is a loud clatter, kind of in the middle of the room, but nothing actually moved that any of you could see.
Another invisible person.
Captain will say out loud, Sammy, was that you?
There's like a double tap on the wall.
Does that mean yes? I can't
That means
remember.
yes, yeah.
What did you drop?
So Annie, while you're looking on one computer for information, the computer next to you comes up, and another Word document comes up, and it's tripped over broken equipment. And then Annie, while you're looking for information, you are able to find some information about the experiments that they were running here. They were working with not necessarily stealth technology, though it could have applications for that, but essentially phasing for a myriad of uses. Trying to create a field that would cause something to phase slightly out of our reality or space and into its own.
Interesting. That definitely feels like something that people should mind their own business about, but I mean, sure.
Yeah, Quince apparently was really into this, but it turned out it was just a phase.
Madam.
I can't even get mad at you for that one, because I should have seen it coming.
I can.
Yeah, you would have, but it was slightly out of phase.
All right, I'm slightly mad about that one because it wasn't as good as the first one.
It's true. That one was a little bit of a stretch. I agree. Hi, Jay.
I'm sitting here staring because I'm trying to think of a good joke about it, and nothing. The best my brain shot at was because it's out of alignment. Like that's not even close. Anyway,
It's fine.
I personally found myself unfazed by these jokes.
That was good.
I'll see you all next season.
You know, I was going to pretend to be impressed, but since we're friends, I felt that maybe I should be a little more transparent.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
You want to watch me eat a whole pencil?
Wooden or mechanical?
Yes.
Wait, does that mean it's a wooden pencil and a mechanical pencil, or it's a mechanical pencil made out of wood?
My rage is such that it will be both.
That's a
That's a lot of
Anyway.
pencil.
Anyway. Oh.
Yeah. So you learned these two things simultaneously.
Cool. What all is in the lab right now? Like obviously equipment, but like what is there anything specific kind of going on? What is the layout like?
It's sort of a big rectangular shaped room. There are some pretty sturdy looking like observation sort of windows on a couple of the walls. Everything's very white colored, and it's just like white and chrome and very sterile looking. And aside from the drywall dust in the air, it smells very sterile. There's measuring equipment that seems to monitor for something. There's some power cables that run along the wall that look really big, and they go into those two sort of vats. And there's some pipes that run along the wall as well, with some little valves that seem to let some sort of liquid into those vats. And aside from that, it's mostly just like computer consoles and shelves full of handheld scanners and things like that.
Are the faucets locked at all?
They are not locked, but it's got like the equivalent of like a child safety lock type thing on it.
Yeah,
so,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, there's measures to make sure you don't accidentally turn it on, but you can turn it on.
Okay.
Is there any information on the computers about how one might reverse the process of this phase technology?
what did you get again? A 32? You've got your other skills that you could put into that too. So yeah, you probably get enough information to know this. They were working on reversing it. However, due to how do they phrase it? Experiments with exponentially higher expected costs, which Annie, you might know that the way they phrase it well enough to know that means somebody got sued. They decided to scrap the project.
Yeah, she would probably say out loud, like, bad news, Sammy. There's nothing in this handbook here about how to reverse what happened to you.
And it sounds like he was exposed to like way more than anyone was ever supposed to be exposed to.
There's a response on the Word document, and it does say, tell you that there's lots of broken equipment in the room. And basically just says, do you see the broken equipment in the room?
I was about to ask, can we see this broken equipment?
No, you don't.
Because I was going to say that you clattered, but there was nothing in the room. Like, Sammy, what broken equipment are you talking about?
Broken vats, there's this weird powder all over the floor, busted computers, there's a broken wall, but I think that was you.
Sammy, what year is it? You don't have to give an actual number, but yeah.
Yeah, he says a date that's roughly the same time as you're in. It might be off by like a month or something like that. But also, like, he's been invisible for a year, so he may not have access to calendars quite as often.
True. That's very true.
So did the whole room get, like, separated and phased?
I'm wondering.
Sammy's somewhere in the fucking 12th dimension.
Sammy, what do you see? Like, describe for us what you see in the room.
He basically describes the room as you see it, but in addition to the equipment that's in there, he also sees, like, superimposed on top of it, broken equipment. Basically everything that was in this room on the video is still here. It's just
not here.
Also not here, yeah.
Is there any other room in the building that's like this, Sammy?
No, was the response.
Okay.
And if you go back on the video and look at it, you do note that, like, and I don't think I described this very clearly before, but, like, there's the explosion and that the cameras go out, and then the room looks pretty much like it was before. And I can't remember if I said if there were broken vats or not, but if I did, I was mistaken. I'm going to retcon that.
Okay. Could not tell you if I remember, so...
I can't remember if I said that or not, but yeah, basically, like, there's no point where it doesn't look perfect aside from, like, right at the point of the explosion. Aside from the big hole in the wall.
Right.
Sammy, can you pick up one of the broken equipments?
You hear, like, a metal plate being picked up, kind of a sound.
Can you just hold it out somewhere where I could touch it? And Sparky's going to try and reach out and touch whatever Sammy's holding.
Yeah, you don't.
Presuming, of course, that he's there.
Yeah, you don't feel anything at first, and then you do feel like. Doesn't feel like something solid, but it's almost like when you hold two strong magnets,
Right.
with the same poles facing each other, and you try to push them together, and there's like that resistance.
Mm-hmm.
But you are able to push your hand through.
Okay.
Is there
Thanks.
anybody in our crew that would know what to do about, I don't know, interdimensional phasing?
Not directly,
Not directly.
but Sparky's pretty smart. Even though they don't act like it. I'm just trying to puzzle it through myself right now as to what we could do.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
what even do you do in this situation?
Do we recreate the experiment?
And risk phasing ourselves out as well? Sparky, we have a ship we have to try to get back onto.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of data here from where they did try working on that for a little while. So if you take the data with you, you or somebody you run into later or somebody that you seek out might be able to solve
But all
that.
the equipment's here.
Yeah.
That's what worries me, is if we wanted to recreate this somewhere else, we would need to buy all of this equipment.
Which
Or-
this place is for sale, isn't it?
That is true.
Yeah.
Could we technically just buy Sammy and his interdimensional funhouse?
It's my favorite children's book.
You, in theory, could buy this facility, yes.
I just imagine us rolling up after purchasing this building and the security guard still being here, and we're like, yeah, this building is clearly haunted, so we bought it.
It's our weird take on things. We actually own several planets.
Keeps them out of the wrong people's hands, you know? Keeps them away from people. We're trying to buy Mars right now, but they're being very
Yeah.
dodgy about it.
Yeah, I don't know why they have such a problem with it.
Yeah.
I heard the property
That's
values just
odd,
went
you know?
down, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Turns out we're just a bunch of, like, investment sharks, or we're just causing hauntings at places to drive them.
You're literally Scooby-Doo villains.
I was gonna say, it
Either
sounds
that-
like a Scooby-Doo villain.
Wow.
Either that, or we're like the equivalent of like Ed and Lorraine Warren, where we just buy things and keep them all locked up so no
Yeah.
one deals with them.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I've seen way too many comics and shows where that's a really bad idea.
Right.
Don't lock all
You're
that
not
shit
being
up
correct.
together. What does Daisy make of all this? Because I am at a loss. Daisy and Sparky are kind of the same level of intelligence to some degree, I think. Like stat-wise, at least.
Yeah.
I can't wrap my head around if there's something we can do now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, are we missing something? Or
Yeah, Daisy kind of comes back and is like, yeah, I don't think we have what we need to fix this right this second, but we could try to maybe buy the place at some point and put people on that project.
Can I request of Samuel? Is there in this room, are there a couple of containers that are like intact?
What type of like buckets or?
Just something with a lid, something that can be closed.
Yes. There's a bunch of broken ones, and then like underneath them there are whole ones.
Okay.
Are we gonna carry
types out.
Sammy out in like a bucket or something?
Surprisingly not, no. Because the man is not liquid, but that would be funny.
I just imagine him like climbing into a bucket and we close the lid and he like shakes it from the inside so that we can look at security and be like, we got it.
We got one!
Security guard becomes Odo.
Yeah. Can you check if the faucets in this room
Janitor, rather.
are still active?
Yes, they
Like
are.
in his phase versus ours.
Mm-hmm.
It looks normal, not just like broken superimposed over whole.
Right. Okay, so question, I guess, in terms of universe, when we try to activate those, does anything come out?
Are you trying to do so?
Yep.
Yeah. Liquids start filling into those vats. They look kind of viscous,
Mm-hmm.
a bit like thin corn syrup.
Sparky's
one
not going
is-
to fill them all the way. They're just going to do like a
Okay.
quick, to check.
Yeah, one is clear and one is like a light blue gel type color.
Okay.
And these things aren't named in any documents in here? Or
They-
anywhere?
They are. It's like, compound letters and numbers.
Okay.
They don't have like a memorable name.
Would the
Scientists.
doctor know what they are?
Maybe.
It's experimental biotech. I don't know.
You never know.
It's true.
Might
The doctor
get
does. The doctor does know things.
not these things apparently though.
Is there any way to disconnect the whatever is connecting these faucets to the vats? Whether it's a hose or something else, or is it like in the walls?
No. There's piping that goes to it. You could if you had a wrench, you probably.
Is there
do
a
that.
bypass valve anywhere? Check the. I'm literally going back to working in a warehouse where we had these kinds of
Mhm.
pipes, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I think there's probably like it's not a bypass, but it's like a pressure release valve, but it
Right,
sends
right.
it off somewhere else through the wall.
Okay.
But like you wouldn't
Is
need
it-
a special wrench, you just need like
Like just
decent
like a
size crescent
regular,
wrench.
yeah. Is in Sammy's view, are the vats whole or are they whole and broken?
They're whole and broken.
Is there any way for him to try and, take some of what we're pouring into the vats safely? I mean, we don't really know what it would do otherwise, but
So he can turn it on, but he's not really sure what would happen if it would just fill up your vat or if it would just spill on the floor or both.
oh no, I mean if we turn the faucet on and it's filling up his broken vat, could he like take some of the fallout from that into a
Oh.
container? Yeah.
If the vat that you can see wasn't there, yes.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Okay.
Because while he has difficulty interacting with physical objects, he still can interact with them. In theory, he could reach his hand into one of the vats, but he wouldn't be able to really pull anything else out of it.
Yeah, it was more like if it was overflowing from one of the broken vats in his view.
I see.
That was more what I was thinking. But if that's not how that's working, then that's fine.
Yeah. Best you can figure as you work that out, like the liquid itself and the pipes aren't
Is still following
necessarily-
yeah.
They're not necessarily phased out.
Okay. In
Or,
that case, yeah.
At least the liquid is not phased.
I think I follow, yeah. In that case, yeah, Sparky will start looking for a wrench, and they'll detail, what they've found to Annie and Android, and just to let them know what the hell they're doing.
All right.
Because if we take some of the stuff back, we could study it.
Hey, thanks so much for that donation. Who would you like to give the advantage to? Oh, here we go. To Sparky. Thanks so much, Michael.
Oh, thanks so much.
Michael Wayne.
I will probably need it.
You are able to find a wrench. How would you like to do this? What sort of process do you follow?
So, this is going to sound mad. Is there a way that we can set up like a tub or just like a box or something that won't leak, obviously, where this pipe is that we're going to unhinge and, pour from, and then have a way to almost pump a bit out into a container? Kind of either through like a hose or anything like that. Like with lab equipment, that's kind of what I'm thinking. If there's some way to like pipette.
Yeah, you could probably do that without much of an issue. The valves are by the wall, so you can. It's not like taking this off is going to cause this liquid to gush everywhere. But there is probably some still in the pipe.
That's what I'm thinking. So just to catch any, and then that way when security comes by, they're not like, hey, who put this hole in the wall and why is there shit on the floor? Because we don't need that.
All right. Any other precautions that you take before you start this?
Yes, maybe safety equipment, gloves of some sort, glasses perhaps.
Good call. Yes, there are.
But also, same thing goes for Sammy, if there's anything in his phase, and also he should try to capture some of it as well.
Okay.
Just in case.
He'll try to do that, and you're able to get the precautions in place to take it off, and you're able to get some of. I assume you want to get both liquids.
Yes, in separate containers.
All right. I do need a nimbleness check from anybody that wants to attempt this or assist with attempting this to make sure that none of the liquid touches, because the vats are rather close together.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want any assistance?
Does a 30 need assistance, Raven? How does that look?
Let me double check something.
Okay. I might could use some help.
Where did my chart go for DCs? Let's see, so a 30. Yeah, not quite enough.
Yeah, I could use some help. Yeah. Tiny bit of help. Un poquito.
Oh no.
Well, you're not going to get it from me.
Does Annie want to help?
Annie, help.
Yeah, I'll give it a try. What did you say it was? Nimbleness?
Nimbleness. 26.
26?
Slightly better.
I can spring for an advantage if we really need it.
That'll be fine.
I
mean, it probably won't be fine, but it'll be fine.
Yeah, so before we start that, Annie, while you're looking through this information on the computers, did you download information off of it?
If Sparky's gonna go ahead with like trying to take everything and do stuff with it, then I would assume like anything that can be relatively helpful that she can get her hands on.
Yeah. So good news is you get that. You do get the samples of the liquid. Samuel gets his as well. But you're not quite nimble enough, and on the last pipe that you're pulling off. You don't notice some of the liquid that's spilled, or maybe you do, but you just can't get to it fast enough. And they flow into each other and starts to sizzle, and little sparks start to come off of it. What do you do when you see that?
Well, I drink it, Raven. What do you think?
She'll
What does it
believe
taste
you.
like?
Don't tell
I know
her
she
that.
will. Taste like I'm out of phase. I
It tastes
think
like danger.
if you're tasting
Spicy.
danger, you're gonna die. Like if you're so close, you can taste it. Is there enough time, can I reckon, to put a cap on it and then throw it?
It's like liquids on the floor.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you meant in the. Gotcha.
No. The containers that you got are fine. You're able to seal them, and you get like, I don't know, a pint of each, roughly.
In that case, Sparky's gonna leg it.
Okay. What about everybody else? Are you also booking it out of there?
Yeah, and I'm also going to tell Sammy out loud in case he can't see it in his phase.
You already hear footsteps ahead of you.
Oh,
running
okay.
away.
I'm not getting
For
caught in
him.
this again.
Good for him. Yeah. Booking
Yes.
it.
Okay.
Lo and behold, this is the thing that would actually cure him. Like,
That's what I thought. Like,
Yeah.
what if we just let
we
it
need to
happen?
blow him up again.
I
Hear
need
us out,
nimbleness
Sammy. Just hear us out.
rolls for everyone that's trying to run away.
Nimbleness, sorry.
Yeah. So same thing again, essentially.
Oh god,
26.
here we go.
All right. Okay,
It's like
Sparky's
literally
fine.
the.
Okay,
no.
I'm hold on.
Oh, no.
It's fine. I'm getting an advantage. It's fine. Hold on.
I feel like we shouldn't be able to buy them for ourselves.
No. You're
Yeah.
actually
No.
not supposed to be able to. You could buy them for other people if you want to.
All right. Well, I already redeemed it, so just give it to either Captain or Sparky.
You have the captain, I have that
They
one.
both. Yeah.
All right.
Ugh.
Yeah, you can't buy it for your own games. But where's the thing? There it is. All right, so let me see how bad the nat 1 is.
Please not 2 1s twice
It's not
in our
that bad.
session. Okay. Only half of you's out of phase.
Yeah, you do trip again as you try to run out of this room. However, it's not that bad. You are able to keep running if someone can help pull you up.
100%.
Okay. Need a
Absolutely.
might roll from Sparky and or Captain.
Well, I'm afraid you're dead. Go ahead and roll first, Goody, and then we'll see if you need me.
32.
32. No, that's enough. You were able to pull Annie up, and you're all able to run out of there. And yeah, there is an explosion. Good news is it's not as big of an explosion as 2 full vats of this stuff.
I should hope not.
But you can see this wave of energy coming towards you, and you just barely escape it. Like, Annie, a little part of your shoe, not your foot, but a little part of your shoe, like just a little piece at the back, like maybe the little lip thing that you use to help pull it up, goes out of phase.
It's a really good thing you didn't need me because I have a +3 to might.
You got an invisibility cosmetic. Congratulations.
Yay!
Yeah.
Wait, does that mean if the shoe's invisible, it just looks like she's wearing like one shoe and one sock?
Yeah, I would hope so.
It's not that much of the shoe.
No, but just if it were, yeah.
In theory, yeah. Of course,
Awesome.
then your foot would just phase through
Right,
it, or
right. Screw
but
moon boots. This is the new fad.
and then when you look back, if you go back and look in the room, the walls are pretty much there. Obviously, except for the part where the captain kicked down part of it. But nothing else in the room is there aside from the pipes sticking out of the wall and the doors.
Interesting. Sammy, you okay?
Here's 2 taps.
Okay. Sorry.
So we have the
The
materials, but what about Samuel?
As in, did Samuel get his as well?
No, I mean, what are we going to do? Are we going to leave him here?
Oh, no. He's coming with.
We're adopting the sloppy ghost man?
Oh my god.
I mean, we can't really leave him here. I didn't tell him to get those samples just so he could hold on to them.
We do have room.
And, food of probably a less variable nature than he's had to eat.
Well, Samuel, are you okay with coming on a ship with us across questionable territories?
Oh, that is a good question.
Yeah, that is a
How do
really
you feel
good
about
question. Samuel, we're going to fix you. And on the way, we're going to destroy capitalism.
Right? Like,
eventually you come across something where he can communicate, a computer or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I just rolled to see which direction he's leaning. His family's still here on the planet, so he wants to stay here and look after them, even if he can't really interact with them yet.
can we take him to his family?
Oh, yeah. Like, he's just been walking back and forth between the town and over to the facility.
Samuel.
Why does he keep going back to the facility?
To try to figure out how to fix it or what went wrong.
Does his family know? Like, has he found a way to tell his family that, like, hey, I'm alive, I'm just, like, out of
I'm the
step?
best hide and seeker ever.
They just thought it was a ghost. It was kind of terrifying, so after, a couple tries, like, maybe I won't, haunt my family until I figure out how to communicate better.
Do we have something we could give him that would allow him to communicate better?
Not really. Like, he's tried the typing thing before, but they just, when they see computers typing on their own, doesn't really matter what it's saying, they're freaked out.
What if we give him access to a terminal and allow him to communicate to his family that way?
That
Like,
could
from
work.
one terminal to theirs.
He also just says if you could, like, confirm the story, like, let them know from people who appear to be living, that might help. Like, if you went and talked to his family and let them know what had happened.
That, like, we have proof that he isn't dead, he's just... Yeah, I mean, we could do that.
My only worry, though, is if that gets out.
We could threaten their lives.
That is an option.
I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong.
There's a response
I mean,
of, like, Please don't.
Yeah, like. If you're sure, Cap, I'm happy to go along with it. I just worry.
What does Annie think?
About letting him use a terminal?
Or letting his family know that he's alive? Like, that we have witnessed that he is actually alive and just out of step. Just that, like, can we trust them enough to not be, like, telling everyone that he's alive?
I mean, yeah, we could just like tell them the importance of keeping it quiet. I don't see why they would just go around blabbing if they knew it could put them in trouble or in danger.
I don't know if it'd be blabbing, but it might just be like an unconscious, like, oh no, he's not dead, like that kind of.
I feel like after a year of saying he's dead, they wouldn't necessarily make that mistake.
It's possible, yeah.
And I don't think he would come up in conversation or a specific moment of conversation as
True.
frequently where that
True.
would be an issue or come up in organic conversation. Like, oh yeah, I went to the store, bought some eggs. By the way, did you know that Sammy's not dead?
All I'm saying is there could be innocuous clues,
Yeah.
but I'm also
I think
paranoid.
if they carry on
Yes.
how they've been carrying on,
Mhm.
like, we just tell them to continue to live your life like you
Like
have
nothing's
been,
different.
then I
I mean,
think
either
we
way, it's going to be dangerous if he comes back anyway, because then people are going to start asking questions.
That's true.
True.
So as long as they can just hold their tongue for a little while
Mhm.
and get it sorted, then I don't see there being a huge issue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
I think we can talk to his family.
Okay. I'm into it.
All right.
How are we going to get the stuff he collected?
Yeah.
Like, how are we
Didn't-
going to
didn't-
interact with that?
Didn't really think that part through. It's kind of a work in progress plan sort of thing. So maybe he just holds on to them or puts them somewhere for safekeeping for now. I mean, it's not like anyone else is going to stumble across them.
Yeah, literally or otherwise.
It's true.
Hide them in a wall
Right.
somewhere.
Yeah, they could just stay in the building.
We just set off an explosion in the building. I don't want someone to stumble across them there.
I mean, the only evidence of anything in the building is that there's now a hole in the wall, but there's nothing in the room. But still,
True.
yes.
Did I mention I'm paranoid? Also, it means that if you wanted the stuff, we'd have to go back in the facility, whereas if he just stores it, in like a self-storage locker or something.
Yeah, if, like, there's a safe place outside of the facility, he could
Mhm.
keep it.
Literally anywhere, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Dig a hole.
As long as they don't touch.
Oh, yeah. Maybe opposite storage lots.
All right. Well, then, are you ready to leave the facility then?
I think so.
I think so.
Is there anything that we could maybe sell? Like, is there anything of value we could potentially?
I love how broke we are. We're like, hey, is anything not nailed down that we could potentially?
In the building, yes. Nothing that would be like, this is going to sell for $1 million.
No.
That
Yeah,
you've come
okay.
across already, at least. There could be
Okay.
other things elsewhere, but you'd have to explore more.
It's
Eh.
likely that they've taken the big ticket items.
Yeah,
with them.
they've taken the cool stuff.
Yeah.
Also, there is the matter of how do you get it out?
Yeah, that's an
Why,
issue.
Raven, we turn it invisible. It's the perfect heist.
Here, Sammy, stick this under your shirt.
Anyone asks, it's a birth defect. We
What
love
if
you.
it comes out that Sammy's just been naked this whole time?
Oh my god.
Yeah, my clothes rotted off about 6 months back. Didn't have the heart to tell anybody. Ran out of spare overalls.
Oh my god.
The future, I don't know why they're wearing overalls.
Overalls are the future, Jay.
I mean, listen, jumpsuits are the future. Can't put me
Coveralls.
otherwise. Coveralls. Cover. Yes, the new
Jumpsuit
fad.
overalls.
Cover sums.
I think we just call those clothes, Jay.
Anyways, do you want to explore the facility more, or do you want to get out of here?
We just set off an explosion.
Yeah, we should probably make ourselves kind of
We should
scarce.
probably, yeah.
Okay. You are able to leave, presumably with Sammy with you. And yeah, the security guard at the gate is kind of like, everything okay? Did you get rid of the ghost?
Sparky's gonna hold up the 2 canisters like, yep, separated out into ectoplasm and salt, just like every other ghost. And they'll give a, shake of him.
Yeah, he's like, okay, just, yep, have a nice day. And also, when you get into the vehicle, or wait, you took a lift out here, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna assume you arranged to have one come back for you.
Yeah.
When you get into the car, there's an extra, knock on the window once you close the door.
Mm-hmm.
And you're able to tell that, Samuel's in there.
Good.
Okay, I was worried that it was like the guard coming up like, hey, it's a funny story. I don't believe you.
So we actually found this weird thing with the cameras just now.
Yeah.
And
That's
you're
gonna
able
bite us.
to...
There's a naked man flailing around inside our facility.
Oh my god, what if the security guard can see him, but we can't? He's like, hey, who's the guy with you? Like,
My goodness.
oh, good.
Yeah, you're able to get back to town. We can just say that you talk to his family and explain the situation. You don't have to play it
Yeah.
out if you don't want to.
Yeah, I think we can avoid that.
Yeah, that's a bit of an awkward conversation.
It's a lot, yeah. Ooh. So he's not dead.
Awkward from
but I
us.
can't-
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. I can't prove that he's not dead, but I can't prove he's not alive. He's kind of like Schrodinger's fuck up.
But yeah, it takes a little bit of talking it out, but yeah, eventually you convince the family.
Okay.
So he's more or less taken care of for now.
Okay.
Do you then go back to the ship, or are you sticking around town for a little bit for any reason?
Is there anything anybody needed to do?
Oh my god, ghost poop all over the place between the facility and his family's home.
Ooh. That caught me all kinds of off guard.
He can, in fact, still use toilets.
Well, that's good to know. These are questions we needed answers to.
And because I control this galaxy, weirdly enough, the toilet paper was not difficult to interact with.
That's
Good for
good. I was
him.
more worried that when it was, when things weren't a part of him, they were visible once again.
Yeah, it
Can
is
you
a
imagine
weird
walking-
exception, but space is weird, and exceptions happen.
Can you imagine walking into a bathroom and just seeing toilet paper floating? Like,
Yeah.
I think it'd be more concerning
okay.
that I'd hear a toilet flush, see the door open, the door close by itself, and then see the faucet come on. It's like, well, at least the ghost washing in their hands, but also,
A little trail of toilet paper,
oh
moving
god,
on the floor.
On the shoe.
how would
Yeah.
you not notice? That drives me insane in movies. You would notice.
It could be worse. It could be like a urinal situation.
Like, why did that urinal just flush on its own? That's weird.
I mean, they do that. That is
They
an odd
do.
feature. They do.
But like,
But
then
usually
you hear
in
like
unison.
a zipping noise.
Oh, they do,
Oh, it'd be so much worse. You hear the
I
zipping
was
noise.
trying to stay away from that joke.
You hear the zipping noise, and then you hear the door open, but you don't hear the faucet going.
Exactly,
You're like,
and you're like,
"Aw."
oh, come on.
It's like my worst nightmare with OCD. Ah, meh.
But anyways,
Mhm.
around town, yeah, if you want to buy any supplies like normal supermarket type stuff, sure, you
I
can
thought
get
you
that
were
here.
gonna say like normal humans do.
That too.
Do we fall
also-
in that category? Do we?
Do we
No.
need supplies?
You don't really need anything
Okay,
in
just
particular.
checking.
It's just basically like, is there something like you really want right now? You can pick it up.
No.
No.
Also, I don't know if you were serious about trying to buy the place, but you could talk to the listing agent here before you leave if you want to.
I kind of feel like we don't have enough money.
You would be correct,
Yeah.
but if you want to like talk to them and find out how little money you have compared
Just
to what
rub
this
it
place
in.
costs.
Yeah. We could. I think Sparky would be interested just in terms of keeping Conch Core apprised.
Yeah. So you are able to talk to the listing agent. It is marked down because they're trying to get rid of the facility
Mhm.
to 25 million credits. Yeah.
So we have to rob a mega bank.
We
Yeah.
have to
Stole.
find a Swiss account, basically
Yes.
the equivalent of.
Or we
So,
could steal Mars.
So I did figure out finally how the economy works based on the prices that I was telling you in credits for a couple of various other things. Roughly to figure out how much things would cost. The exchange rate is about 1 credit to 3 US dollars.
So this thing is like 75 mil, roughly?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
It's hefty. What a steal!
Yeah. Apparently, a facility like this IRL right now would cost like 100 million.
Jesus, really? I'm curious. I may have to look up what the old place I worked at cost because it was substantial.
And this is for like what I looked up was like developing medicines and that sort of thing.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, ours was a manufacturing warehouse, which was doing veterinary and human drugs, so probably not dissimilar.
Okay.
Hmm.
I figured like a pharmaceutical plant would be as close to biomaterials research lab as we can
They're
get
up
right now.
Yep, they're definitely up there.
So yeah, that's why the cost, and I figured out that fueling the Lagrange was about similar to fueling a 747.
That checks out. Yep.
So yeah,
Less people though.
true.
Is there anything? I'm trying to think if there's anything else we really need to do. I think Sparky would give the kind of the material to the doctor if they're willing to handle it, and then if not, would probably task Seattle with helping with it.
They are more than willing to handle it.
Okay.
This is not at all trying
Do
to
we
dissuade
trust
you,
them
just
with it?
that.
Yeah. Not really. It's kind of why I was saying Seattle, because we already have a room set up for it.
Maybe
Yeah.
we should just like put it somewhere safe and tell everyone on the ship, don't touch, please.
Could definitely do that.
I was just gonna say, are you sure you want to hand me this metaphorical flamethrower? I mean, I'm not complaining, but there's so much I can do with that.
But think of all the invisible missiles we can make.
Oh, goodness.
Oh my god, I just thought of something terrible. Do not let me tell that to Alex. Nope, this didn't happen. Cut it from the feed.
That's
Cut the feed.
a fair point. All right. So, forgetting that thought existed, nobody heard nothing.
What thought? I say.
You get back to the ship, which is nameless.
Has a name. It's just like wah, 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 wah. It's like the Peanuts parents, you know.
Yeah,
there's words there. We just don't know what they mean yet.
You get back to the and Annie. How is Annie's mental and emotional state at the moment?
Well, Jesus, that's not an ominous question. Fuck. Is this a therapy session? Like, do you want me to go into detail on how she's doing, or?
No, just wanting to get a gauge of how Annie might react to what she's gonna see. Somebody might die, but it's not gonna be any of the PCs.
Jesus Christ, Raven. Well, somebody might die. Are you sure? Huh?
Vanessa, she's talking about you literally venting your brother.
Yes. It's a funny thing, not a oh god thing.
I mean, it is funny watching someone die in space.
Yeah,
hilarious.
That's funny.
No, it's not.
That's the joke. That was sarcasm.
Oh, what's that taste like?
Fear. We are so fucking unhinged. Go ahead, Vanessa. I'm so sorry.
Okay. I feel like at the moment, Annie is relatively stable.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
You are met at the airlock to the shuttle by Daisy, who immediately tells you, Annie, I don't know how they got it again. I deleted it, and somehow they managed to get another copy or copied it before I deleted it. But this is all your brother. I had nothing to do with it, just so we understand each other.
I just realized that we went to this whole ass facility and didn't get any information on what we were actually looking for.
I forgot what we were even there for.
It was to get the airlock gel material that Seattle's wanting to develop.
Oh, whatever. We got invisible gel now. Who needs that?
Wait, honestly though, exactly.
But we didn't adopt a sloppy ghost man.
I completely forgot that was why we went there.
You almost did. I rolled the d20. I'm like, all right, the closer to 20 it is, the more he's willing to go. But I got a 3, so like now he wants to stay by his family.
What a
Probably for the
wuss.
best. It's probably for the best. We would have accidentally vented him or something.
But no, imagine if somebody broke into our ship.
You just
Oh
find
my
Rip
God.
tied up, sitting in the cargo bay, like, what's going on here? You hear 2 taps, like, Sammy.
Yummy.
Oh my God, back to the accidental venting though. Can you imagine everybody's just like going about their day and they're like, so Sammy, has anybody heard from Sammy lately? Just silence. And they're like, oh, we fucked up.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
It'd be like
Kid.
the equivalent of noticing that your child's hamster escaped.
But like 3 days after the
Yeah,
fact.
but like nobody's checked for like 3 days and you're like, oh no.
You're like, oh, that's dead. Oh, that's all kinds of
That's
dead.
dead.
Just gonna buy a new
Anyways.
one and pretend. Sorry, go ahead.
Panic as you try to remember when the last time the airlock was flushed.
Or frantic calls over to Fuel at Matt's going, hey, has the station been haunted recently?
How have your toilets been behaving?
We think we may have left our ghost there.
There's an invisible man, you see.
He's not very good at doors.
Have you heard any banging lately?
Any knocking in response to yes or no question of any kind?
Anyways, Annie, Daisy says those
Paperclip.
things to you.
Yes, she certainly does.
What is your reaction?
Annie just first and foremost asks, what have they done with it?
They made a loop of it. They added sound effects. It's currently playing on every monitor in the ship.
Just this serene, just calm expression on Annie's face. Not a smidge of anger to be seen. She just nods. That's all right then. She gets in the shuttle.
In the shuttle?
Or wherever we are, I don't know.
I
Oh,
was
he's going
gonna
to the
say,
ship.
is she just gonna like get into the shuttle and scream or something?
Or-
Yeah,
Straight
pretty
up
much.
gets in the shuttle, undocks. She's like, I'm going to live with Samuel now.
And then we never saw her again.
Oh my god, okay. And then, yeah, as you all walk into the ship, literally every console in the ship is just on loop, playing the little, it's like a TikTok sized or length video clip, and there is the whistle sound effect, a laugh track, and like background music.
I feel like Annie disappears and you just hear like that stock scream sound in the background as she finds
The
those
Wilhelm.
two little fucks.
Yeah, weirdly, you don't find Seth anywhere, but Liam is laughing his little butt off on the bridge.
We'll have to roll to give him a black eye. No, I'm kidding. She does, however, try to catch him.
All right, let me get a nimbleness roll.
Great, because I've been so good with those this session. Fuck's sakes.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
An 18.
Well, he got a nat 1, so you catch him.
He tried
he
to
is
run literally into the computer.
Yeah. Tripped over the chair, fell on the floor plate.
So seeing as it's been a hot second since Annie, before this, was in contact with her brother, you know, he was a 12-year-old last time she saw him. So as he just absolutely does not get away from her, she grabs a hold of him and like bodily tosses him to the ground and just sits on him.
Oh, yeah, there's a groan. Odd question. How heavy is Annie?
I haven't really thought about it, to be honest with
I
you.
don't think about characters' weights either, but I was just like, Liam's, you know, young and pretty wiry and strong, so you might be able to just toss you right off.
Yeah, but if you sit down with purpose, even as like a tall, skinny person, it doesn't feel good. I used to do that to
that's
my
fair.
brother all the time.
All right,
No,
I'm gonna
I
go with the
probably-
experience then.
Put her at about she's 5'9", like 145, 150 pounds.
Okay. Yeah, he'll eventually be able to push you off of him, but
She
just
makes
knocks the wind out of him first.
yeah, she makes that time where she's sitting on him absolute living hell for him. She's like like pinching at him and anything to annoy him, and just like clearly she wants to just rip him apart, but also like that's her little brother, so she doesn't want to like maim him permanently.
All right. Yeah, you get all the good sibling, pinches, noogies, and whatnot out of the way. And yeah, when you get back to your quarters, there's like this really nice little bouquet of wildflowers that have been pressed and dried, and a I'm sorry, Liam did it note on it. You still haven't seen head or tails of Seth.
She just picks it up and she's like, oh, what a crock of shit. Tosses it on her desk.
Yeah, you absolutely heard Seth laughing at it in the background on the comms call. Out of character or meta, I guess. Seth thought it was really funny up until the point that Liam started putting it on the monitors and realized, like, oh, Annie's gonna know. And it was
one thing.
Nope, I'm out.
Yeah, it's one thing to consume the content. It's one thing to change everybody's screensavers to that content.
Exactly.
Can Annie delete that from everything?
Eventually, yes.
Okay, that's what she'll be doing.
It takes a surprisingly long time, and apparently you eventually found out Liam set it up with like a cloud download thing, so like once you deleted it, it still auto downloaded it like the next day.
Oh my god. As this continues, she gets to a point where she's just like so exasperated that she just stands in a common area and yells at the top of her lungs, and she's just like, I'm sending you back to mom.
There's definitely like a geez, can't take a joke kind of attitude from Liam. You eventually get it all off the computers. If you ask Daisy for help, you get it off a lot faster.
Well, seeing as Daisy was, she listened to the request, and this wasn't her fault. She'd probably ask Daisy for help. And Liam's lucky that she didn't say that she was going to send him back to their father. That would have been the real marker of an angry Annie.
That definitely would have been the, oh, you fucked up. Yeah, Daisy, it takes her a little while, like another day, but she comes up with this like cascading virus thing that gets it off of all the consoles and off the cloud. And also, while she's at it, asks if there's anything you would like to put on Liam's computers and set up to download a lot.
Annie will get back to her. I'm gonna do some thinking. Let's really embarrass this fucking kid. Let me think on it. Okay,
Daisy's all on board for payback. What's everybody else doing during this family feud?
Captain just removes the screensaver from the bridge.
Okay.
Sparky's probably just hiding in the blast room, hoping that Annie does not go nuclear, and is just fiddling with other things to keep busy, and maybe communicating with the doctor, just letting them know what happened, but specifically not letting them know what they found.
Okay. The doctor is very appreciative of the information.
Cool.
Genuinely, like, thank you. Nobody ever tells me what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
While you're in the blast room, could I get a hearing check?
I hate to shoot myself in the foot here, but we made it pretty thick walled, so I don't know if I would hear anything. But sure.
Oh, It's in the blast room with you. What you could potentially hear.
Oh, good.
Hey,
I swear if you end this on a 27.
You hear like almost like rustling leaf noises.
Rip.
God damn it! He's the
Oddly,
best. He's the
I'm
ooze.
actually worried that it's Sammy.
It's not Sammy. They're coming from the box that Seth had brought on board.
I told him those nests weren't abandoned.
Did
Did he bring back a possum?
Do you
I
open
love
up
that that's
investigate?
the first thing you jump to. No, Sparky's actually going to message Seth and say, hey, your box is rustling. I'm not fucking
Yeah,
opening
it
that.
is.
Screw
You
that.
get a message back just to Sparky. It just says, "Shit, you can hear me."
Oh, bless.
Sparky's just going to sit on the box.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
sit on the box.
Just, cross-legged, open up the PDA, start dicking with,
What a pal, Sparky.
Yeah.
Play some solitaire.
Listen, you got yourselves into this mess.
You just
I'm
message
sure
back-
is
he just messages back like that. Just don't tell her I'm in here. I'm gonna wait a while until the maybe she's
Oh,
taking
hey,
out her anger
Annie.
on Liam.
hey, who are you looking for? Oh, you're looking for Seth? And Sparky is clearly just talking to no one, but they're gonna try
Yeah.
and make it sound like Annie is in the room with them.
You can like hear the and like breath holding noise.
Yeah, pop a squat, and they'll mimic, like they'll pick something up and drop it on the box to try to mimic someone sitting on it. Yeah, no, I know you're not in the mood to talk. Just listen, we can go over the specs in nice quiet silence, right? And they'll tap the box a couple times.
Oh, love it.
Nobody fucks with my friend.
All right. Anything else that anybody would like to do before we wrap up?
Not that I can think of currently, no.
All right.
No.
Then for once we won't leave it on a cliffhanger.
Well,
Aside
now
from
I'm
knowing
just,
what happens
now
to
I'm just
Seth.
on tenterhooks. Like, what's gonna happen?
The real cliffhanger is what happens at the beginning of next episode.
You can't do that to Raven. That's
The real cliffhanger is the friends we made along the way.
Along the way, yeah, exactly. I'm kidding. I don't have anything specifically planned for next episode right now.
You can't tease me with my daily dose of anxiety and then take it away.
Okay, fine. We'll find out if Rip shows up next week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have needs.
Let me know if Sparky takes a shower before next session.
Noted.
Anyways.
See, that's good. That is a normal feeling.
Okay.
Ah.
Just threw that off the top of my head. Anyways, we're gonna go on a raid in a minute. If you have an idea for a raid cry that you would like to throw into chat, feel free to do so. And we'll use that as we go into the raid. Before we do, I'm going to let everybody say what their favorite part was, where we can find them, and anything they want to share or plug. We'll go reverse order from how we started. So starting with Goody.
My favorite part was getting to kick a whole wall down.
That was pretty badass.
And also the mental image of just how awful the acting was. For mostly Annie. But the you gotta have some good old critical fails, right? And at least
It's
they
true.
weren't the kind that kill us, so I'll take it. But I'm still sad we didn't get to adopt the ghost. Janitor. Think how clean our
Yeah.
ship would have.
I mean, fair.
But yeah, I don't really have anything to plug. I'll be here next week.
All right. Also, reminder, go follow Canned Chaos Art on Twitter. They are really cool. They normally play Seattle. They just couldn't make it this week. Excuse me. So, but go check out their stuff. They have really cool art, and they're just cool in general. So, there's that. And then, V, a favorite part, where can folks find you? Anything you want to share or plug?
Yeah, the stuff in the hallway with Sam was was really fun, and hamming it up and being like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so scared." I feel like that's such an Annie thing to do. Even if it was like just a bad dice roll, I still feel like that's very true to her character. Because you can rely on Annie to be good under pressure when you need her to be, but this was not a life or death situation, so for her to be like, "Oh, I'm so terrified," it kind of fits with her character, so I'm definitely not mad about that.
Awesome.
Yeah, but as for me, you can find me, what's today, Saturday? We won't be having Exodus next week, so that'll be the week after. The week after is actually going to be, I believe, our season finale. And then we're going to take a little break on it and come back to it fresh and new and hyped up and energized. I feel like that's probably just the best progression of events for us. We're kind of in the heat of it, so we're going to do a really good season finale and then recharge on that one. And yeah, I'll be here on Thursdays for Elite Bubascar. I play Anaka. That's
Excited
it
for
today.
that one again too. All right, and then Jay, same questions.
Everything that's been mentioned, obviously. I think my favorite bit was every interaction we had with that security guard. From the kind of incredulous, but I don't get paid enough, to the, okay, something is up, and I don't know if you're the cause of it or if you're just taking advantage of it. I still don't get paid enough. It was beautiful. I love the idea of continually fooling this guy just enough that we can squeak by, but obviously not fooling him 100%.
Yeah.
It's just so funny to me that he's just like, I don't really care. This is the most excitement I've had in a year that I've been working here. It felt really fun. As well, I think the biggest moment was realizing that Samuel's reality, he was seeing both instances of that, got my brain turning. So that I'm definitely holding on to for next episode.
Awesome.
Where you can find me next will be not this coming Tuesday, but again on Saturday. So a week from today will be another Animus Absentis episode, 6 Mountain Time, and hopefully I will be free of the vaccine side effects by then. So we'll see whether or not I'm still feverish by the time that day rolls around.
Awesome. And yes, I also enjoyed the security guard interactions. Because it wasn't so much that you were fooling him to believe what you were saying was true, is that you were fooling him enough to think that you were up to something different than your actual intentions. And yeah, I agree. That was just really fun. Also, definitely one of my favorite parts was Jay, just watching your face during the bio lab stuff and just seeing you trying to figure everything out. I always enjoy watching you puzzle solve. It's just, you're really smart, and you come up with these really cool ideas, and I love watching that.
I'm really glad that you think I'm smart, because most of that was like, this is a dumb idea, but...
No, you are smart. Sorry.
Hate to break it to you, you're smart.
Yeah, sorry for the
Guess I'll go to
but...
university then, okay. Sorry, good.
You're good. Also, yeah, the Nat 1 on... both Nat 1 on... Nat 1s on Annie. And the resolutions of those Nat 1s, more importantly, is what I quite enjoyed. And it's going to be really fun watching Annie around Seth and Liam for a little while. And then, yeah, obviously, Captain kicking down the wall was just epic. And a lot of the other suggestions that Captain had as well was really neat. Jay. Yeah, those were my favorite parts. Where you can find me next will be Thursday for Elite Bebeskar, right back here at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. I'm taking a couple of days off next week to recharge, and yeah, I'm looking forward to doing Star Wars again. Other things to share or plug are sponsors. I throw those links into chat, which is Fundamental RPG. That is the system that this game runs on, and several other that we have on the channel. You can pick up the physical book on Amazon, or if you just want the PDF, you can pick that up at coffee.com/raven, like it's spelled at the bottom of the screen. And until the end of the month, it's on sale for half off, so you can pick up the PDF for less than $10. It's a pretty good deal. Excuse me, and you can run everything from high fantasy to sci-fi, clearly, and then everything in between on it as well. So it's pretty versatile. And then also at coffee.com/raven is Intrepid, which is adventuring gear for real life, apparel and drinkware and accessories and cool stuff with a tabletop theme. So go check that out as well. And Die Hard Dice, they sell really good polymer and metal dice and a bunch of different dice-related things. They are my favorite dice company. You can pick up your own set of really cool stuff, like the Fey Bloom set that they have right now at dieharddice.com. If you use the code BLACKFEATHER, all one word, capital B, you can get 10% off your order. And then if you want to catch up on this show or any others that we have on the channel, you can do so at the Fantasy Network at watch.thefantasy.network. And then lastly, if you are enjoying Animus and you want to play around in this world, I do have a Animus Galaxy Discord server set up. It is available for content supporter patrons and up on my Patreon, or active members in the Blackfeather Guild community. So if either of those are you, or if you would like to go sign up on my Patreon for the content supporter tier and check it out, it is currently available. There's lots of information in different channels about the different locations and different characters and how things work in the galaxy, and then a whole roleplay section for every one of those locations where you can just make your own character and come in and sort of play in the sandbox of this galaxy. And eventually it's going to be its own tabletop book, and you'll be able to run games on it and stuff too. So lots of really cool stuff coming up on that, but a little bit that you can actually start to interact with now. So if that interests you, my Patreon is just the Raven Evermore. Excuse me, RAVYN in that, so the Raven Evermore on Patreon. So I think that's everything I have to talk about and plug and share and all that good stuff. So our raid cry is, oh no, not the post-it notes. You can copy that right out of chat. And then let's see who we're going to go raid. Polished Cryptid is currently streaming, so let's go give her a raid. She's really cool. She does a lot of tabletop stuff as well. Go give her a follow if you're not doing so already, and say hello, and then I will catch you all Thursday. Bye, everybody.